like to thank you for your time.
That's 89.1 WYBF, and that is Citizen Shade with their song, Thank You For Your Time. That's a very good music video. And we have a certain somebody on the line. We have a Mr. Howard. Will Howard, that is. Sir, can you hear us?
I can just fine. I appreciate it.
Sweet. All right. And I hear you're musically, classically trained in almost every instrument known to man?
Almost, except bagpipe.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a close friend of the show, Will Howard. He's an up-and-comer. Will, we're a big believer in your music. 2 recent covers Will Howard and his band Citizen Shade released have reached over 1,800,000 views and climbing in not even a month on YouTube. His most recent EP was released, and it is called One for the Evening. It features Thank You For Your Time, which you just heard. This man is working with the best in the business. Glad to have you on the show. How have you been, Will?
I've been good, man. I'm just working on a few new tracks out in L.A. right now, and real excited. Me and the guys have been traveling a lot back and forth between the East and West Coast and just trying to get a lot of sleep right now.
Yeah, I got you.
It's hard to catch up when you're used to traveling, used to being in the air. We're lucky to be doing it. It's been, about a year and a half as Citizen Shade. I met the other guys at UNCG at the School of Music, and I started out as a percussionist, and then I switched to vocals. And, really connected with David Loscano. He couldn't be here tonight, but he's the keys players for us. Seth Titus is the drummer.
Okay.
And I met both of those guys at UNCG, and we're just having a blast. Just playing music as long as we can.
So you mentioned that you switched to vocals. What prompted that switch? And we just want to ask you, when you see the person singing, a lot of times some people who first heard you say, oh my gosh, that doesn't match up to that unique quality, that voice, that power behind it. What were kind of some of your inspirationals behind developing your vocals and everything and kind of getting into that more and away from percussion?
That's a good question. Really, the first thing that really caught my attention was listening to old soul music, 60s. And, on the way to the beach, my dad would always play Sam Cooke and Otis Redding and The Temptations. From those trips as a kid, I just got into soul music and gospel music and connected more with that than a lot of the pop music that was on the radio at the time.
Yeah.
Over the years, really tried to model my voice after soul singers and jazz singers. That's really the long and short of it, just trying to imitate people that I love and appreciate, different artists that I've listened to my entire life.
So some of your most success today has come in collaboration with Kurt Hugo Schneider, doing covers of modern pop songs. Tell me about collaborating with him just a little bit and what that process was like.
Well, Kurt, he's a great guy. The cool thing about Kurt is he actually started out as a math major. He was a math major at Yale, and then after getting an Ivy League education, was just like, you know what? I'm going to try to take my hand at music. And he moved out to L.A. and started doing YouTube videos, releasing them once a week. And his break, he actually released a Michael Jackson cover. It was an a cappella cover, and it got many millions of views in the first week. That's how he started to build his following, but he was definitely on the front end of YouTube creation.
Which song was the Michael Jackson one? Do you remember?
It was a medley. It was a mashup of Michael Jackson songs.
Gotcha.
He did a cover with one of his friends. Kurt is normally the mastermind behind the cover. He normally doesn't sing, but he does the arrangement, the recording. He'll play piano on the track. And so it was just really cool to work with him and to see his process. He's such a humble guy, and it's so cool to see someone that successful, be that down to earth.
Obviously very well accomplished, and that's a great opportunity for you as well to be able to work with him, and y'all made a great little baby there together. It was a great song.
It was a lot of fun.
Let's hear a little bit more about your latest EP that you released. I listened to it. I have it playing in my car just about every single time I drive in. Love jamming out to it. One for the Evening. Tell us about the production of that. Do you have any favorite songs, any anecdotes that you have from making the album with some of your friends? I'm sure that must have been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. What was so funny is that Citizen Shade, it started out as a solo project. I wanted to try my hand at another project. I didn't really want people to know who I was because I'd done the singer-songwriter thing, and I just kind of lost interest in it. And I don't always like being the center of attention. Studying bass and studying drums, you're not always at the front of the stage. I love watching bands where there's such a unity in a band where no one cares who gets the attention. And then as we started playing, as I met the guys at UCG and we started jamming, I first invited David to be a part of the band. We started writing a few songs. Some of them were revamps of older songs that I'd worked on. But, I just felt a connection with David.
David's on the keys, right?
Yeah, he was a piano performance major at UNCG, and He's been playing the keys for us. He does synth work as well. It's so much more than just a musical connection, It's just you have to feel a personal connection, too, especially when you're in a van with someone else for, hours at a time.
Don't want to get sick of each other.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes that happens anyway, but that's harder to avoid. No, but we really do have a fun time playing together. And as far as the EP is concerned, it was mainly me and David, and then we added Seth to the mix later on.
Revamping some songs, and I'm sure a lot of new stuff came from adding additional members.
Oh, absolutely. And we worked with a cellist named Justin Mackey. And what we were trying to create is a band that has the vocal conviction of Adele, but the instrumentation of a One Republic. I've always been a huge fan of One Republic. I've always been a huge fan of having strings in rock music and pop music and indie music and jazz. I'm just a huge fan of strings. And so having Justin was great because with the cello, he could play the violin line, the viola line, the cello line, and the bass line with that one instrument. So it made a huge difference when we were tracking the record. That's the trying to think of some G-rated stories to share.
I mean, we can jump to TV 14, rated R, just as long as it's not explicitly, I was backstage at the Forum, this girl walked in, did this, beep out that, was great, that's because there's always nice things like, oh, this girl did the SpongeBob last night. So
we've had some interesting stories, playing live. And I will say a funny anecdote about one of the songs. So there's a song called Funk War on the EP. And the song itself, the chorus of the song is inspired by a story that one of my friends told me.
Okay.
Where the chorus of the song is, I swear to drunk I'm not God.
I swear to drunk I'm not God.
And I swear to drunk I'm not God, Ossifer. And it was a story. I used to be a bartender, and I still bartend for private parties sometimes. I used to be a bartender, so I'd hear all kinds of stories. And one of my regulars came in, and he said that he had gotten a DUI. And I asked him, do you want to tell me the story? And he immediately started laughing. He shared with me that he had too much one night after watching a ball game and was heading home, and I pulled him over, and that was his response to the officer.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he's caught.
Basically, for you personally, what is your favorite part of traveling? Because I met a lot of rock stars. I've met a lot of people that have gone left and right. And there's always the one aspect of touring they hate and the one aspect they truly love. For you, what do you feel is the thing that keeps you going? Because it's not easy to tour. It's physically demanding. Not only is it mental. So for you, what would that be?
Art means so much to me is the idea of connection. That's why music means so much to me. And, it's cool to be able to stay in the studio and to write songs and record. Having an open canvas is a cool thing, and it's a fun experience. But it's hard to connect, even being a YouTube artist, it's really hard to connect with your audience. Occasionally people will post things, and it's encouraging, but you can't really connect with your audience until you actually go out and meet your audience, whether it's playing, locally or regionally or nationally. The idea of connection, I talk with my guys, that's the point of life, in my opinion, to connect with other people, to connect with God if you're religious, to connect with your family. That's so important. My favorite songwriters have the ability to speak truth to me, to connect with me. Artists like Jackson Browne and Bob Dylan and Paul Simon. Those are probably my top three favorite lyricists. I think that's the most important part, is connecting with the audience, sitting across from your audience. It's a form of escapism sometimes. Yeah. It's almost like going to a movie. That's what I want our shows to be like, where people that have had a rough day can come out and listen to some good music and talk with us, and we can show how goofy we are and how similar we are. And, we're just trying to make music a full-time job.
Yeah, that attitude, that family soul attitude really shows through in your music, and I encourage any listeners out there to check him out and be able to hear that pop but also soulful blend. Before we let you go, we got to know, do you have anything upcoming, anything on the calendar, any releases that we can look forward to?
We just recorded a new song with a Grammy Award-winning producer, and really excited about it. Really fortunate that he wanted to work with us. And so the song is called Break My Fall, kind of the connection of all the different genres that we're influenced by, the jazz connection, the rock, pop. So I really think that we're on to something. It's taken us a minute to try to find out what direction we want to choose. Yeah, we're just really excited about it. So Break My Fall is not going to be out until we're shooting for the end of the month, but I will definitely make announcements as they become available. That's the biggest announcement right now. I'm going back out to L.A. to do another video with Kurt. So be looking for more collaborations with him. It's lucky that I didn't scare him away. I thought I was away the first time.
There's no way you could have. Those videos are just incredible. Also, this show we've been talking a lot about Villanova and Carolina in the championship game.
Yes, we have.
Villanova is only 10-15 minutes away from here. We happen to know that you are a Tar Heel born and bred. Were you watching that game? How'd you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was disappointed, I will say, about the loss. One thing I've noticed, though, at least here in Carolina, I don't know how it is up in Pennsylvania right now,
sure.
But in Carolina, they've spent more time talking about, the graciousness of Carolina's loss than the victory of Villanova. So that's made it a little easier to swallow.
Yeah, that's definitely a North Carolina
and also,
thing.
It wasn't Duke. So there you go. That's the bright side.
That's very true.
They handled it well. I still think that three he made in the air, moved left hand, I still think that's the better shot for me personally. Because who does that? Who moves in the air?
What was your reaction after that Marcus Page three-pointer with like 5 seconds to go?
It was I was very happy internally, but I was very restrained.
Yep.
Because there was still time left on the clock.
Yep.
Oh my God, I've seen a lot of games with devastating endings, and let me just say, after the game was over, I used a few four-letter words that I will not say on. It was good to see Roy Williams, his reaction, and how much he loves those players. I see a lot of coaches that talk about, this is my favorite team.
Yeah.
But Roy, he doesn't cry in any interview. Not just, and he was in tears.
Yeah.
After that interview, because he truly loves Marcus and the guys and all the seniors, and it was cool to see that.
One of the classiest coaches in any sport.
So hopefully next year we can try to get number 5. We'll see.
Well, thank you so much, Will Howard of Citizen Shade, for joining us. Before you leave, someone would like to ask you if you could give our radio station a ID.
Hey, this is Will Howard from Citizen Shade. You've been listening to 89.1 WYBF. Samuel the Prophet and John the Ninja.
Hey! We're going to play 7 years. Enjoy.
Thank y'all so much.